Shalom, Hebrews and Shebrews. Welcome to the channel. This is Soul-Filled Disciple for today's daily reading. We're going to hit 1 Kings chapter 10, continuing on. I know we had a week off. We didn't get no reading done. I just needed I was looking into some things and I needed a break, so we didn't get no videos made. And 1 Corinthians chapter 7 that we're going to do, I want to do with my wife. It has to do with marriage, and so I'm trying to get that where she has time and I have time to get together and do that video. Actually, I've been doing a lot of research on the culture at Corinth, and so I think it'll be very informative as we go forth in reading the letter, the epistle to the Church of Corinth. And so for today's reading, we will be reading 1 Kings chapter 10. If you've been watching some videos of mine and you like the content, but you haven't subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button and the little bell icon, and you will get notified when I do new videos. I urge you to watch the message I brought to the assembly Crosswinds yesterday. I went pretty in depth, but yet simplified the understanding that if we do not understand the two houses of Israel, the house of Israel and the house of Judah, how we're going to miss a whole lot of what the scriptures are actually speaking on. And so so go watch that video from yesterday. I don't remember what I titled it, but it was, you'll see it. It's my message to the assembly at Crosswinds. What did I title that one? The two houses or something down that line. I don't remember exactly what I titled it, but anyway, it's yesterday's video that posted yesterday. So with that said, let's see what's going on with Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, per Yahweh. Give him that. As the last time we got together and read here on this channel, Solomon had just finished up building the house for Yahweh, the permanent structure of the house of God, the temple, the first one, and his personal dwelling place. And it's, if you can look at it as it reads, pretty elaborate, would pretty well blow away anything that you could see today, any structure that is built today, by far, I would say. All right, sorry, trying to make sure I kind of hit on a few high points there before we begin reading. Let's get with it. 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 1 says, "And the sovereigness of Sheba," or the Queen of Sheba, "heard of the report of Solomon concerning the name of Yahweh, and came to try him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great company, with camels that bore spices, much gold and precious stones. And she came to Solomon, and she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. And Solomon answered all her questions, and there was no matter hidden for the king that he did not make known to her. And the Queen of Sheba saw the wisdom of Solomon, and the house that he had built, and the food on his table, and the seating of his servants, and the service of his waiters, and their attire, his cupbearers, and his ascending offerings, which he offered in the house of Yahweh. And there was no more spirit in her." So this Queen of Sheba, she'd heard of his reputation had preceded him, in other words, and she'd gotten wind of it. She wanted to go see for herself. Now, this is not a you know, I want to go see this wise man so I can gain wisdom. This is I want to go see this wise man so I can get mine. She has a underlying agenda that is not totally for the up and up. It says there was no more spirit in her. That meaning her reservations for what she wanted was complete, as far as, yep, it truly is, he truly is who I've heard he is, and now I'm going to begin working this. She's a con artist in a funny sort of way, the way I can get my mind wrapped around it. Solomon, he doesn't hold nothing back. It's all out on the table. What does he have to fear? He has navies and armies and men to protect him, to watch over his all his things. But yet but more so than that, he has Yahweh on his side. So what does he have to fear by revealing all things to her? And that's something that we need to take note of as we go forth in our walk with Yahweh, that there are going to be these individuals that come to kill, steal, and destroy, that they would wish to gain information and a foothold into our lives so they can, whether it be to cause us to fall, or so they could get out of us what they want. And we have to be very careful that we don't put ourselves in these situations where we reveal so much that we've actually dropped our guard and allowed a wicked individual into our lives to wreak havoc. Verse 6. And she said to the king, the word I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom was true. But I did not believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And see, I have not been told the half. Your wisdom and prosperity, it exceeds even the report which I heard. So now she's going to begin flattery. Flattery goes a long way with a lot of people. You go and stroke their ego, or you stroke their pride, or, you know, kind of puff them up a little bit. You will cause them to further put themselves in a harmful situation for you, or for that individual. Verse 8. Blessed are your men, and blessed are these your servants who stand continually before you, who are hearing your wisdom. Blessed be Yahweh, your Elohim, who delighted in you to put you on the throne of Israel, because Yahweh has loved Israel forever. Therefore he made you king to do right ruling and righteousness. Stroke away. Puff him up even more. And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and very many spices and precious stones. Never again did so many spices come as the sovereigness of Sheba gave to King Solomon. And also the ships of Hiram, which brought gold from Ophir, brought almug wood, a great many, and precious stones from Ophir. And the king made steps of the almug wood for the house of Yahweh, and for the king's house, also lyres and harps for the singers, and no such almug wood has come or been seen to this day. The greatest embarkment of technological build of all time. Wood, stones, gold, silver, everything. Nothing before, nothing less. That's why Jesus says Solomon in all of his array. You know, Jesus makes note of Solomon in all of his array. All of his array is not only his clothing and whatnot, but everything about Solomon. You know, the alliances that Solomon forged ahead with, in those alliances, Solomon's men being trained and taught different trades, Israel just really flourishing and prospering during the time of Solomon in the early years. Verse 13, and King Solomon gave the sovereignness of Sheba, the queen of Sheba, all that she desired, whatever she asked, besides what he gave her according to the hand of King Solomon. And she turned and went to her land, she and her servants. And the weight of gold that came to Solomon yearly was 666 talents of gold. Besides that, from men of travel, and the profit from traders, and from all the kings of Arabia, and from the governors of the land. And King Solomon made 200 large shields of beaten gold. 600 pieces of gold went into each shield, and 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 minas of gold went into each shield, and the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with refined gold. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round at the back, and there were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests. And 12 lions were standing there, one on each side of the 6 steps. The like of it was never made in any reign. And all the drinking vessels of King Solomon were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of refined gold, not of silver, for this was reckoned of little value in the days of Solomon. Gold only, because silver was wouldn't even been found worthy to be in that house. Verse 22, for the king had ships of Tarshish at sea with the fleet of Hiram. Once every 3 years the ships of Tarshish came, bringing gold, silver, ivory, and apes and baboons. And King Solomon was greater than any of the kings of the earth in riches and in wisdom. And all the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which Elohim had put in his heart. And they were each bringing his presents, objects of silver, objects of gold, garments and armor and spices, horses, mules, the matter of a year by year. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and had 1,400 chariots, 12,000 horsemen, whom he stationed in the chariot cities, and with the king in Jerusalem. And the sovereign made silver as common in Jerusalem as stones, and he made cedars as plenty as the sycamores which are in the low country. And Solomon had horses brought out from Egypt to Kua. The king's merchants bought them in Kua at a price, and a chariot came up and went out from Egypt for 600 pieces of silver, and a horse 150, and so by their hand they brought them to the king of the Hittites and the kings of Aram. So it just further explaining the multitude, the magnitude of the reign of King Solomon, and the wisdom. You know, if you want something from someone, you're going to bring gifts. Just like paying for our services today. You want this? Well, I need this for payment. This is what was happening in the kingdom. It was a very prominent time for Israel. Probably the only time that we'll see Israel be as prosperous in every area and direction. Let's see. Along with that, you know, you have a big army. It takes a lot of supplies to feed this big army, to move this big army. It takes wisdom to operate all of this in a mechanical, you know, no flaws, no uh-ohs, or any of the other. You know, you have, you know, everybody has to be playing their part in the right capacity, in the right manner. And so all things must come together at one time. And so with that, you're going to have many who are seeking to get their piece of the pie, whether it be on the up and up or underhandedly. And so the early part of that story being with Queen Sheba is to be careful that we don't just, regardless of how powerful we may be, regardless of how strong our faith may be in the Lord, don't drop your guard to the point where it could cause you to fall because somebody else, because you're putting that yourself in a position with someone else's character, and that can be quite dangerous to you. And we're going to see that here soon, coming up in these next chapters over this week. It's hard for me to get back into doing videos because I don't, you know, I want to make sure I hit on the high points, don't miss anything, and it just takes me a minute to get back in it. So I apologize for this video. Kind of stumbling around through it, but we'll get back on track and rocking and rolling. And I'm looking forward to doing that video with my wife, and I believe y'all will find it what do you call it, informative. We may lose some members, we may gain some, we may frustrate some. There's a lot in that chapter in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. So y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. This is Oilfield Disciple, and I will catch y'all on the next video.